I was on this platform a year ago, exactly a year ago tomorrow, and with John Vincent, who came to speak to you all at this LACA event, because this event is the important event to launch the school food plan, because it brings together everybody in the world of school food. It brings together the caterers, it brings together the schools organisations, it brings together the campaigners, the charities, the equipment suppliers, the whole supply chain of the world's school food. And a year ago, John came here. There'd been a bit of a media storm in the morning, but John came here and laid out to you the school food plan, which set out the actions that you, the school food industry, the school food world, that you had agreed to and signed up to. And it was the vision that we all shared of more children eating better in school and more children learning about the importance of good food, so that we have flavourful, fresh food served by fulfilled cooks. And we all signed up to that. So to come back here and to be introduced by David to say, "How is it going, Myles?" is actually easy for me, because all I'm going to be doing over the next 20 minutes or so is just telling what you are doing, because you are the people who are delivering the school food plan. The stroke of genius, I think, about the school food plan is the fact that it has the word plan in it. And so many other sort of sectors to do with food, whether that's prisons or hospitals, care homes, Meals on Wheels, they're all sort of saying, we need a plan too. And there's sort of some of the lingo and some of the discussions about reports and reviews are no longer going to wash, because they come up with recommendations. And here we have, with the plan, a plan. And boy, do we have a plan with some milestones. David said D-Day, which gives me the excuse to be able to make reference and analogies to D-Day. But in September, we have 3 big things going on, don't we? Cooking and food education back on the curriculum. Loads and loads of organisations producing now brilliant resources to help those schools, to help those cooking teachers, primaries and secondaries, to get ready to teach the new national curriculum. We've got the new food standards, and Louis Levy will be talking about them in more detail this afternoon, but they are now launched, the guidance is there, and schools and caterers and suppliers, you have until January when they come into effect. And of course, we have universal infant free school meals. But those 3 things are mammoth, massive policy changes that have required legislation, law, arguments in politics, all that sort of stuff. But in of themselves, they don't guarantee success, and they won't guarantee excellence. And the principles of universal infant free school meals, in particular, the delivery of the policy, doesn't mean that the meal is good, and it doesn't mean that the child or the pupil will want it. And that's what we, you, all of us are working so hard to do. Government have played their part in enabling the policy landscape, the legal landscape, the funding landscape, but it's for us now to deliver. And who are the most important people? A year ago, we stood up on here and we recognised the role of the head teacher. But we also, of course, need to recognise the role of these fabulous people, the school cooks. And I'm going to come on to that right at the end. And I just need to show you that I have worked in the school kitchen for a full day. And thank you, Linda. I worked in one of Enfield's schools, and I think Linda did this on purpose. It is the largest primary school in the country, and we were serving hundreds of meals to happy children who were really enjoying, and the engagement with Letitia, who's a school cook of the year. Boy, was I bossed about that day, worked hard, but it was really rewarding. We know in the school food plan that the 3 principles to support schools to succeed have to be in place. And in the scores of schools that I've been to with many of you around the country, when these 3 principles of head teacher leadership, whole school approach, and seeing things through the eyes of the child come together, then we know that the magic can start. And whatever we do, we always must hold dear to these really important principles. And equally recognise that universal infant free school meals, whilst it is the discussion of the moment, because the enactment of a policy doesn't equal excellence, it is all of the delivery of the 16 actions in the school food plan that matter. Because the delivery of those actions by you, by government, by charities, by lots of different organisations, it is going to enable and support the delivery of successful long-term success. So, annual report time. How have we done? I think not bad. If we look back a year, I really think not bad. It's about this, isn't it? It's about the consensus. It's about the coming together. This is just one snapshot taken from a website of one of the delivery actions in the plan. This is the Lot 1 Support Universal Infant Free School Meals Support Service. And underneath these organisations were all the organisations who helped to fund the roadshows, all the organisations who've helped to spread the word, to get the message out to schools, be they the press, other people really helping to make sure that we are working together with positivity and in the consensus in order to deliver the school food actions. And we are doing this in a kind of challenging environment, aren't we? And whether it's the BBC or whether it's the Daily Mail, I was quite pleased this morning walking down the corridor on the 3rd floor of my hotel room, seeing the Daily Mail, this morning's Daily Mail. And we weren't front page this morning, so that's something. But of course we have the freedom of information requests and the positivity and consensus in the way that all of you, especially all 152 local authorities, are responding. And Linda, forgive me, but I had to copy your tweet because I thought this summed it up. Maybe, if we stop the FOI request, we could get on and do our job. But FOI requests are, of course, important. And the context of the previous big FOI request, which exposed some of the nature of the challenge, the numbers of schools without kitchens. But I make, and all of us should make absolutely no apologies for the fact that it is not universal infant free school meals that has caused the problem. It is the simple fact that over the years, many schools, for very valid reasons at the times, have taken the decisions to not have kitchens in their schools anymore. And that means, for some local authorities, there is one hell of a challenge in the universal infant free school meal delivery. One of the most important actions in the school food plan is around the image and the branding of school food. And I think that has started with the enthusiasm and the way in which everybody has adopted the brand of school food plan as their own. The school food plan, the role I play, and Leah, who works with me full-time for the Leon Foundation for Henry and John, we are not the school food plan. We may perform some administrative function, but you are the school food plan. And so it is examples like this where innovation, commitment, determination for people to own the school food plan as their own. And there are many, many examples of this, whether it's primary academy chains doing their school food plans, or whether when you are reading educators or cost sector catering, article after article talks about our school food plan. It's embedded. And as we do that, with that ownership, we then can say the other aspect of tackling the image and the branding of school food. This is one of my favourite emails. I've become friends with Lawrence. Now, Lawrence is the photo editor at the BBC. And he actually has, I think, one of the most powerful jobs in the BBC. Because when you look online, as most people do at news now, and in our busy worlds, electronic worlds, we read maybe the headline, but actually look at the image, then it was images like that on the left-hand side which don't do it. And at the launch of the school food plan, that image on the left-hand side was the prevalent image. It must come up first when you do the search in the BBC photo library. And I got in touch with Lawrence, and I said, look, actually, this is an outdated and outmoded aspect of school food. Can you change it? Yeah, don't see why not, he said. But can we move back to the previous slide, please? Hopefully we will in a minute. Is that possible? Thank you. So Lawrence said to me, this was in June, I've contacted the people who downloaded the files and made them aware of the good images we have in the system that the school food plan provided a few months ago, and also informed them the prison-style trays, hooray, he said that, are no longer in use. Well, we know that's not quite true, but for the imaging and the promotion, is not the image on the right-hand side truer to what we want to represent? We've also had flashes of brilliance when posed with challenges of delivery. Pupil premium has been and will continue to be a challenge we know for our local authorities and our schools, and the concerns around changing administrative systems. But let's take just one example, Brighton and Hove's, about how they said, well, let's use this as an opportunity to not only maintain our current levels of pupil premium, but actually really seek out those pupils who weren't and aren't registering. And already, before the end of this term, they've secured across the local authority an extra £45,000 of funding for their Brighton and Hove schools. Now, we replicate that up across 152 boroughs. That's a lot of money. And so rather than some of the presentation in the media that this is going to lose schools' pupil premium money, let's celebrate and share the fact that there are brilliant people showing what's working well in terms of claiming the pupil premium. The standards. I have been amazed, both in terms of how the consultation was conducted, the way in which that the whole school food world conducted themselves with professionalism, with passion, with vigour, laying out arguments for change, laying out reasons why things should be, but then also accepting, once done so, what the standards are. And I just took this picture yesterday. There are other drinks companies out there which as well, but here is Calypso saying, look, we are reacting. These are our 150 ml cartons. We can change. We're going to be ready. We've got our supply list ready. Schools, we're ready to enter it within the supply chain. We also have the positivity and reflections of moving forward with some of the actions which are there to support the framework for schools. So Ofsted have now had in their guidance for the last year the paragraph saying that inspectors should look at the role of the dining room and how it affects behaviour and culture in the school. And we are beginning to see in Ofsted reports that coming through. Ofsted are changing. They're going to be bringing their inspectors in-house. They're going to be making their guidance shorter, and we've got challenges to make sure that as they make their guidance shorter, we embed ourselves within the training of inspectors, but really encouraging conversations that we had because we took representatives from across the school food world to a meeting with Mike Claddingbowl, the Director of Schools at Ofsted. He's agreed, in principle, that we can do training sessions next January, and that we include more of a crib sheet, which will go direct to Ofsted inspectors to help them understand more fully the role of school food across the school food day. Work to do, but still showing that positivity and consensus because Ofsted can see that it's everyone working across the piece together. Change for Life and the public health world have done some brilliant things. Change for Life, in their back to school campaigns last January, published the head teacher's checklist in the school food plan and distributed that to every school. And Louis, my apologies if I'm stealing any thunder, but Change for Life will also be, in January, producing materials and resources to help teaching in the curriculum, and also recipes and menus linked to the school food standards. So helping to bring together the cooking education, again, with the quality and aspects around the school food standards as well. Now, this is a school which initially caused a bit of a headache. Cheam Field School in Sutton has a determined head teacher, Catherine Lester, and also a very determined business manager, Nikki Gillespie, who, when Universal Infant Free School Meals was announced and some of the funding came through, said, well, we can't do it. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to do it. We haven't got a kitchen. It's not good enough. This is not good, and so on. And contacted the BBC, and the One Show contacted us. And so we had a chat with the One Show, and we agreed that John Vincent would be, in a way, the first advisor through the Universal Infant Free School Meals support service. And this is a picture of the solution that was found because experts came together from across the piece, caterers, charities, equipment suppliers, to meet with the school, to talk through what their wants, needs and aspirations were, and to find a solution particular for them. This picture doesn't really do it justice, but my understanding is that when Lee Vines from PKL initially saw the school and went, yeah, I'll fit. It did fit, but not by much. And 2 weeks ago, a number of those people who were helped in the process came together to what I think marks a real important day, because whilst it's only one school, there are many other examples of how the support service is delivering solutions to schools. It was a school that presented the jeopardy back in March to millions of people, saying, policies, yeah, delivery, not so sure. But actually, as I have said in some previous talks, it can be done because it has been done. As we remember, as we see the challenges that are presented and posed to us from those who say, well, not really sure we can do this, whatever. Actually, it can be done because it has been done, and it is the present tense now. We're in the present tense. It's because it is being done. David referred to D-Day. So, D-Day was a really important day because what it did is brought troops and tanks onto the beaches. But D-Day didn't win the war, did it? And in some ways, the school food plan starts again, or continues on the first day of September. Everybody is working absolutely flat out to ensure that every child will be able to enjoy a free school lunch who is entitled to one in September. As Henry Dimbleby was just calling me. But we know that in order to fulfill the vision that all of us signed up to with positivity and consensus, and in order to realise the benefits of a great school food culture, we need to strive towards that vision. We're not quite sure necessarily what will happen on day one or day two, but we're all planning for it. But we do know what we want the end point to be. And the school food plan lays out the school food plan lays out the actions which, on delivery of those actions, we know will mean that those schools and those pupils will enjoy great school food and enjoy the benefits. We need to make sure next year that not only are we seen to be delivering on our commitments for universal free school meals, for cooking on the curriculum, for changes to the standards, but that we're doing it in the spirit of positivity and consensus that has rewarded all of us so far. We need to make sure that for those schools that want to continue their journey, we are able to show what works well. And I hope over the next year that this phrase will become as common to all of us as the school food plan has become. What works well doesn't belong to any one organisation or any one particular initiative. It is a way that we have embraced, all of us already, about showing, about demonstrating, about seeing how schools can be supported on their journey by showing what works well. And ultimately, we need to give these teams the encouragement and the support, because day one's going to affect them as much as anyone else. All of you in the room know that. And I'm going to finish by sort of stealing some of Stephen's phrase around the moral purpose. On the 23rd of June, a week before the 23rd of June, there was an extraordinary meeting at the Department for Education of the external reference group that the department have pulled together, consisting of people across the whole school food world to support and advise the successful delivery of universal and free school meals. And David Laws, the minister, attends those meetings. And really importantly, he listens and he hears to what the current status is from the school food world and about how how do we deliver. And there was a quick comment from somebody about, well, how do we make sure we support our school food, our school cooks in the best way? And within a minute, we'd had a quick discussion, and the obvious solution of David Lord's writing a personal letter to each and every school meals team. And on the 23rd of June, he did just that. And on your tables, and I'd like you please to have a look at them now and pass them out so that every single one of you have got a copy of that letter, please. That letter was sent out in an email to all schools, and we know what schools do with Department for Education emails sometimes. But that letter is a written letter. It has a date, it has a signature, and it has an addressee. And the one ask I've got of you from today is, will you please be a postman? Will you make sure that this letter gets into the hands of every single school cook that you know? I hope also head teachers will be doing the same. I hope teaching unions will be doing the same. I hope the school cooks will get the letter 8 times, because I think they need to be applauded 8 times and congratulated 8 times, and to show that not only does the Minister for Schools understand the vital role that the school cooks play, but actually by being the postman with a cheery, smiley postman smile saying, here you are, school meals team, here's your important letter. Let's get it up on the notice boards, because it's the moral purpose, it's the goodwill, it's the positivity and consensus that has got us to this fabulous place, and we'll make sure that over the next year we really will be able to continue to deliver. Thank you.